New Muslim Cool is a feature documentary that follows 3 years in the life of a Puerto Rican-American Muslim hip-hop star and his family and his community.
We have here in the studio my favorite Muslim rap artists, brothers Suleiman and Hamza Pérez, and they're in from Pittsburgh. So now, Brother Hamza, you're Muslim, you're American, you're Puerto Rican, you're from the hood, you're an artist, you're a rapper, you all sound like America's worst nightmare.
I met Hamza when I went to Chicago to film a really large gathering of American Muslim youth who were doing hip-hop in a street festival. And he and his brother were performing. And what struck me was how completely different they were in person than they were on stage.
This is for the real cats. We don't care about no Patriot Act. We don't care about surveillance. We don't care about the FBI agents in the crowd. This is for y'all.
Their act was a little bit on the aggressive side, and offstage they were both incredibly funny, gentle, humble, really different from the people that I saw on stage. We discovered a whole new possibility for the film, which had a lot less to do with this whole idea of Muslims and hip-hop culture, and a lot more to do with the spiritual growth of one person.
I may have been in the street strung out somewhere or something, you know. But, you know, Allah had a whole nother plan for me. Let's go, Tyler. Get the best sweater, too. Come on, come on. We all had a community in Massachusetts. Must have been more than 55 people that became Muslim. And then we all moved here to Pittsburgh to create a Muslim community. We made that decision to try to save ourselves and try to save our families.
When we first started filming with Hamza's community, we actually had no idea what the neighborhood thought of them until the raid happened.
The FBI converged on a mosque and they raided.
The agents in technical gear surround a house with their guns drawn and ready.
But agents won't say why. The house they surrounded is...
Several men were handcuffed, and according to witnesses...
They had like 10 handcuffs laid out in the ground right here, a bunch of handcuffs. They lined us up against this wooden fence right here. And he started calling me by my Muslim name and all that, you know, letting me know that he knows me and, you know, he's supposed to be doing some type of homework on me or whatever, you know.
After the raid, so many neighbors came out in support of the community. The neighbors really saw these guys for who they were, as real people to whom some kind of big misunderstanding had happened. And that made me really happy that people could distinguish what they saw in headlines from what they saw in front of them. After the raid, Hamza and his community kept telling me that this was going to be good for them, that to be challenged this way in their minds meant God loved them, and that God was giving them challenges that they would have to supersede, and that that was actually something good. And I just didn't believe that for the longest time. I thought they were, you know, putting a brave face on a bad situation. And I think toward the real end of the process, I think I started to see what they meant. That in Hamza's case, he was aware that if he was going to be given challenges, it was going to somehow make him a better person. And he was thankful for that opportunity. Hamza's mother's great, and for many audience members will be somebody, you know, through whose eyes you can see the story.
I didn't know too much about their religion, and my family still doesn't know too much. My mother's like, what is this, you know? You know, I brought the boys up in Catholic school. I used to work 2 jobs to pay for private education for them. People come with their Muslim. Hamza, I said, wait, that's not my son. I mean, that's my son, but my mother said, why did they put that name? His name is Jason. It's kind of confusing for us sometimes, but we accept it, you know.
Yo, that's my niece over there. So that's your niece?
And I'm glad my kids are all drug-free and they don't drink, they don't smoke. Sometimes I don't like the music. Sometimes I do some music songs I like, some songs I don't like.
Gladys is such a universal figure. She's also a moral center. in Hamza's life. And she does go through the film learning a little bit more about him, I think becoming more accepting of the way he lives his life. But she also holds him accountable.
Jason was always pushing. He didn't like a lot of injustices in life, like to get treated bad and discriminated, and, you know, he didn't like that. Jason always rebelled. I always told him, you have to give in life to take, right?
She was a voice that probably his whole life was keeping him morally grounded. Of course he has his faith, absolutely, but he has a very strong, very grounded mother.
It's hard for you to tell someone who is a gangster, who's trying to live a religious life, that if someone smacks them, they have to turn their cheek. They don't understand that language. The human being doesn't understand that language. That someone's gonna invade your home, you have to turn your cheek and forgive them. I start thinking about my kids, you know what I'm saying? And where would they go? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna stay with them if I get locked up? So my whole thing is just make sure my family's all right if I get, you know, taken away or whatever.
I was really interested in exploring his family life and his role as a father and his incredible love for his wife and kids. That really felt core to our exploration of his growth process.
I'm always involved with community stuff, you know, and I worked hard for that. And now I'm at a different stage where I'm still doing that, but I'm putting a little bit more harder work in the home. And it's about me being more mature and learning, you know, that some of the best charity you can give is to your family. Police!
The interfaith element of the story emerged really as Hamza was going through, I think, some maturation. And I think, you know, post-trauma, post-raid, as he started really looking inside himself, the deeper he got into his understanding of his faith, the more he realized that he was going to have to work with people from other religions and find some sense of universality.
What we're going to be talking about today is the brotherhood of humanity. If we was drug dealers in the streets, you may have to humble yourself. This is where your Christianity is going to get tested. This is where your Islam is going to get tested, right? It's a medicine that God gave you. How many of us, we've done stuff to people, and inside we're not at peace with ourselves because we done hurt this person. So you can't just repent to God and then think everything's all hunky-dory. You repent, no doubt, but you have to ask them for forgiveness too. I look at people, I don't look at them as people no more. I look at every single person as an opportunity to get closer to God.
Often when we talk about religion, the framework or the concept is the deeper you become involved in your own particular religion, the more you may reject others. And this is a different concept. He's saying the deeper I understand my faith, the more that means I need to reach out to people from other faiths. Hamza's pretty brave, and his family was pretty brave. And we had a common goal, which was to tell a story accurately, to tell it fairly, and to tell it in a way that would really help viewers empathize and see Hamza, his family, and his community as full human beings.
Everything that I ever asked God for, He gave it to me. So when I face Him in the day of judgment, I'm not going to have no excuse.
What I hope more than anything that people take away from the film is a feeling that they have spent some time with people who've become their friends. That they've spent time with people who maybe ordinarily they wouldn't get to know. But through watching the film, that they found some real commonality of experience.
If I stop struggling, I'ma stop hustling. If I stop hustling, I'ma stop breathing. I just lost my job, times is getting hard. I'm calling to God, we gonna make it right. I done felt the pain, I done felt the rain. I'm waiting for change, we gonna make it right. Now I'm in a fight, fighting for my life. I can see the light, we gonna make it right. I carry this load, I walk down this road. I can feel my soul, we gonna make it right. got my soul.